Hello, traders. Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing today? I want to go over the reversal patterns for today. This is settlement where we close. Regular trading hours only is all I have on here. I do have some interesting levels. I've got the pre-market high, pre-market low. Being that it was Friday, I didn't expect us to expand the weekly range. Normally on a Friday, it won't go outside of the weekly range. We did have that exception on the I think it was MOC, or it was a week before rollover, I think, where we did expand the weekly range by 25%, but that's pretty rare on a Friday. So when we pushed down here and we took out the London low, and there was also an afternoon low from the prior day, this one here, I was pretty confident if we started slowing down that we would reverse and eventually head up here to the pre-market high. And so that's once we got down below the London low, I switched to a 15-second chart. I did mark out this 1 minute breaker, but I switched to a 15-second chart for my entry. So let's take a peek at that. So our 15-second breaker, the last up close before the lowest low, which is this is the lowest low. Man, when you get those 15-second candles on there, it really changes things. So that's our last up close. We did have a fair value gap. It's very small, but it's there. Right here. I mean, those candles are nearly touching. There's just like a tick in between them. But it is a fair value gap. That's all that matters. That's what we look for. So I did go ahead and enter. Man, I can't even get it small enough without making it disappear. I entered a tick above. That's where I entered in right there. I got in actually at 540 even. And this filled me. And then here we go. So that's the tiny little fair value gap. I'm going to get rid of this. But you can see candle bodies respected it really well. We had another tiny little fair value gap right here. And when this one came down, it didn't even respect it. It just kind of came down and middled around in this area for a minute. I don't even know which fair value gap you would reference. Maybe this one. But it got taken out. And what I ended up getting out of the position. Once we got up here, I got out of the position when this candle formed. But that got me almost funded. I mean, I was within just a couple of $100 of getting funded. And then this pullback kind of hurt me a little. I think I was up to $1,300 on the day. I needed $1,500. I was trying to do two $1,500 days. And I got up to 1,300 several times, and then I would get in a trade and I would lose 100, and then I'd get in another one, I'd make 200, and then it just was like that all throughout this whole choppy business. This was our 1 minute breaker. I don't even know why I have that marked like that. Let's see. Our 1 minute breaker on this push down. This is our lowest low because here the open is here. Lowest low all the way down here. The breaker's way up here, and it's a 20 freaking point breaker. And we danced in that sucker forever. We went up to settlement here, all the way back down. Then we took that low back to settlement, back inside the breaker. Finally, we make a push. At noon, we finally make a push. That's what funded me. I had my take profit above this high, and that's what I needed to get funded. And so that worked out. And then once I got funded, I was like, whew, I'm exhausted. What I was expecting to happen is that we would come take this pre-market high and then come back down to settlement. That didn't happen. We just did a slow grind up the rest of the day. And so I did, when we had this pullback, I did get in on one trade just to try to make a qualifying day on my XFA, and that worked out too. And so that's a reversal pattern to the upside. This 1 minute breaker, man, yeah, it's not clean. But the 15-second breaker way down here, that's clean. That's nice. Now, what about when we open? We push down, did not run any liquidity. That's what I was expecting. Pre-market low to fall, then the pre-market high. It left the lows. So I knew we were going back down there. I didn't expect it to go all the way up here, almost to the high, and then go down there. That was a tricky move, but that's what it did. So could we find an entry anywhere around here? That's our high for the day. That would be our breaker. Last down close candle, the red one, that's our 1 minute breaker. It pushes through so rapidly, we don't really have an opportunity to get in. It's also pretty early in the day. It's just after 10. There's no fair value gap to bounce off of. It just pushed so rapidly through here on the way down. Now, I guess you could enter here for another push down, but you wouldn't have. You just had to grab a few points somewhere along the way. It was a tough trading day. It really was. So I didn't participate in this one, but I was thinking this is probably a 15-second breaker right here. But still, you don't have an opportunity to get in. Let's see what it looks like on a 15-second chart. And we haven't run any liquidity, so why would I want to try to get in on that without running that liquidity? So I just let that one go. I didn't even participate in that move at all. So if we look at it from a 15-second perspective, our last down close before the run up is that one. Still don't have much opportunity to get in. It was just such a rapid descent. Maybe you could get in right here and just aim for settlement, low of the day, maybe pre-market low. I don't know. That was a difficult trade for me, and I just let it run because I wanted either this green line or that green line to get taken before I was even interested in a trade. Let's go back to the 1 minute. Once we did validate this 1 minute breaker, let me get rid of this. I don't know that we need that on there, and we don't necessarily need that on there. Once we did validate, finally pull away from, here we validated it, and then we came back to it and hung out there for a while. But once we pushed away again, we did several fair value gaps. Entering here, you were solid. The only thing about that is your stop would have had to be a pretty decent ways off because you got all three of these fair value gaps that could potentially get filled in. So you would be entering here, right at the high of that deal. My typical stop is 25 points. So there'd be your 25-point stop right at settlement. It would be one knuckle-biting son of a gun, but you would have been okay. You didn't know that at the time, though. Every time one of these pushed down, you're probably thinking, oh, it's going straight back to settlement. So you would have taken a little heat, but not much. A couple of points. Let's see, from bottom of that red candle to the bottom of this one, 7 points heat is all you would have taken. And aiming for high of the day or even the pre-market high, high of the day you would have been filled here. But it took a long time, and it was just grueling price action. I'll just go to this high. 86 points. Not a bad payday right there. Not a bad payday. So the system did work, but it was not clean. The only clean one was here. I was thinking, if you got in here at, say, 540, like I did, and you just put your stop right here, and you were like, it's going to that pre-market high. I know it's going there. And you just put your stop up here and walked away, you would not have been filled by market close. But if you put it above the high, you'd have been fine. Because it would have run all freaking day long and you'd have been fine. But I don't always trust these 15-second breakers because sometimes they can be violated. I prefer to do the 1 minute breaker. So here, I think I would be pretty good about getting in there and going up. But once we made it through all this and I got funded, I was exhausted from all that chop and I just went to bed. So I missed all of that. But anyway, let me know how you did this week. Um, yeah, just let me know how you did this week. Put it in the comments. This video, if you don't mind. And I hope everybody has a good weekend. Remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to one another. If this was easy, everybody would be doing it. But we're going to make it easy. Each one of these makes it easier and easier. I should label that 15-second breaker, 1-minute breaker. Pre-market highs, very important levels. Always put those on your chart every day. It's Texas time at 6 a.m. to 8:29 a.m. The high and the low. All right. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Talk to you next time.